Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Winona Earp. So quite a few things to break down about this episode. First of all, I think it's like this episode had a very much more humorous side of things, because obviously we have like the duo of Nicole and Winona, like just the back and forth between them. And it's kind of interesting because like Winona kind of is very kind of like goes with the flow of things, but Nicole is very by the books. And you do have Nedley kind of putting them together to kind of force them to work together. And I love that Winona's cleaning out the closet and stuff like that. And then Nedley's kind of looking at it. She's like, "Nedley, are you staring at my ass?" And he's like, "Nope." And then like Winona kind of gets pissed at Nicole because she brings up like dolls. She's kind of like, "Oh yeah, go after Bullshark because of what you go ahead and sit there on your ass. I'll work and find a way to get to work this whole Bullshark situation so that for what he did to dolls." And that kind of set her off, and that kind of made her kind of go push Nicole's buttons even more. But this is also about talking to like the head of the city council, Bunny, who turns out she's racist and homophobic and everything. Because the moment she gets there, she goes at the picture of Waverly and Nicole and just goes gross, and she's just kind of a just shitty person in general. I love like, "Oh my god, is she dead? Is she dead? Oh my god." Talking about, okay, I know a way to dispose of her body. It's like, she's still alive, but Winona's like, "Okay, fine, we'll deal with that we'll use those some other time." It's like, grab her purse, right, the money, no, medication, Winona, medication. It's like, once again, it's like, why not? I feel like they really kicked it up this episode because she's kind of a piece of shit person this episode. And because it's like, okay, we're going back inside for her purse. So we are going to rob her? It's like, what is up with you this episode? Once again, I think it is just the fact is that Winona was playing it up even more just to push Nicole's buttons. Because Bunny had suggested that Winona would make a better sheriff than Nicole, just because, like, Winona's a straight shooter. She's from this town naturally too. Nicole's an outsider. Like, it's just because of Nicole's whole situation that she wants to turn down Nicole anyway. But two, frat boys take the car and everything, because basically Winona and Nicole's luck has been terrible the entire day, and it's just like one thing after another, or just mishap after mishap. They end up tracking them down to like a bar of revenants, and it's like, "Oh, how are we going to settle this? A drinking game." It's like, really? I'm surprised revenants are okay with accepting these terms too and everything. I love it. And it's like, "And if we lose, you can kill us." And it's like, and then you have Nicole being like, "Or you could have just offered them money." And she's like, "I did not think it through before I said anything." It's like, wow. And then she's drinking. Part of me was wondering, because it's like the entire game, it's like, man, she doesn't look like she's that drunk. It's like, Nicole looks like she's pretty drunk. It's like, but then again, Nicole's kind of a lightweight. And I love that guy. He's just like, no, I'm still in it. He's taking this contest seriously. And the other guy's like, "How can you not be bombed right now? Like, you're like, what, 8 pounds?" And Winona looks, I'm like, "Oh, I like you." It's just like, what? And it turns out, and then the dude's about to like barf, and she's like, I won. And he's like, "No, I swallowed it back." It's like, "No, but it came up anyway. Everybody knows that, so I win." And the other dude beside him is like, "Yeah, everybody does know that." And everyone in the bar's like, yeah, agreeing and stuff like that. But it turns out Winona cheated and stuff like that. I got it from Coyote Ugly. It's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that movie. I've seen bits of that movie. I don't think I've ever sat down and watched that entire movie. And then it goes, "Oh my god, I love that movie." And I just saw that moment of just them being handcuffed and everything, and she's got Peacemaker out, and her demon's back up a little bit, but just them being stuck together and everything, I love it. And Nicole being like, "You think you're just the only one that's been through stuff, Winona? I've been through stuff too." It's like, I know. Ew, I survived a massacre. And Nicole's just kind of looking at it, and even Winona was like, "Yeah, that was super fucked up of me to say." I thought that was kind of pretty neat. But they do make quite a team. They took down the Revenants. Turns out the main bad person behind this was a gnome, because he's coming to look for his. I've almost forgot when that deep Revenant has him. He's like, "Any last words?" And Winona's like, "I miss Macaulay Culkin." And then Nicole's like, "I tell Waverly I love her." And Winona's like, "You're kind of making me look like an asshole, dude. Nice job making me look like an asshole." But it turns out he's a gnome looking for a wife, and in a back and forth between Nicole and Winona, kind of doing the whole like, oh, she'd make a better wife. She'd make a better wife. But then like Jeremy and Waverly fix his wife, Monique, and it's like, oh, you're fixed. And he just walks out, and it's like, so we're just letting that happen? It's not like, oh, he faded off. He literally walked out the sheriff's station. So it's like, he's probably just kicking it somewhere in the Ghost River Triangle. I assume somewhere in Purgatory. Maybe not. I don't know. But that's just what it looked like to me. It's just kind of like, oh, that was beautiful. That kind of sweet. Oh, sweet. And then Jeremy's like, oh, it reminds me of my first date on Grindr. And everyone's just like, he's like, yeah, I shouldn't have even said all that, shouldn't I have? So I do appreciate that this did bring Winona and Nicole closer in that regard. Because obviously they always have their biggest beefs. They're kind of like, what essentially at this point in time, they are sisters, you know? It's so interesting because like Winona has her way of handling things, and she kind of shits on Nicole a little bit, but for her it's like, no, like she respects Nicole and recognizes her for all the hard work that she does, that she is the most motivated and hardworking person there is. So that's why she was kind of telling Bunny, it's like, yo, you don't help out like making sure that Nicole gets the position, don't give her your support, I'm gonna make sure the demons come at her, because you got scared of that little bit of a demon. You want to be, because it's kind of interesting because she actually went Bunny actually went to Nicole to be like, oh, I want to know the truth. It's like, what? Yeah, Nedley, he's been feeding us BS this entire time. It's like, I, as a head of this person, a part of this town and everything, need to know the truth. It's like, right? Yeah. There are very few citizens who actually know the truth about purgatory. So that's kind of interesting. She's probably going to be the only one, and she probably won't talk too much about it just because it's like, that kind of works in their favor too, because it's kind of like, oh yeah, let them do whatever they need to do. They're handling that supernatural stuff. So, because we ended up also learning, you know, Nedley was the one who saved Nicole all those years ago, not Black Badge. And that also shows you how much of a terrible parents her parents are, because it's like, you were 6 years old and they let you go to some musical festival by yourself. And she's like, yeah, my parents they've always kind of been crappy, which is kind of sucky, you know? So she's always had ties to this town. Like, he's always kept an eye out for her, but especially when he found out she was becoming a cop and everything, he made sure to, you know, keep an eye on her and also kind of put it out there to, you know, see if she would take the job or not. Like, once again, it's like Purgatory has a way of drawing people back towards it, which it did with Nicole. Because it's interesting, too, because I think this has come up before, like, Purgatory in its own weird twisted way has brought and taken a lot from a lot of people. It's taken a lot, but in Nicole's case, it took a lot too, but it also gave a lot. It gave her this family she's a part of. It gave her Winona and Waverly, you know? And Nedley, he's like, was like, you're like a daughter to me. And it's just like, they hug it out and everything. I thought that was so sweet. That basically no matter what happens, like, you need me, really need me, I'll always be here, you know? So we're not quite done with Nedley yet. We probably won't see him as much on a regular basis, but still. And then on the other side of things, we have the whole Doc situation. It's interesting. I wonder, why did Bouchard's ring not work anymore? Maybe it's like, once you've reached, like, maybe being a vampire kind of puts him under that fealty, so it like no longer, because it didn't burn until he became a vampire. So I'm chalking that up to being like, maybe it just reacts specifically to supernatural beings or something like that. That whole Kate situation is crazy, because it's like, she's very possessive and stuff like that. We find out she keeps a memento or trophies on all the people she's killed, and she's very possessive because it's like, Doc is like, oh, Winona helped make me the man that I am, and then like Kate got super pissed. She's like, no, I made you the way you are. The fact of the matter is, you chose to be with me forever. We're together. Like, you know, that she'll never let you back in her bed again, knowing what you are forever. Like, she's very mean. Like, at the very least, at the beginning, it seemed like it was out of love, but now that she has Doc, it's almost like, you're mine and nobody else's. And it just kind of feel like she's shown her more vicious side. Because at least before, it seemed like she was concerned, like, are you really sure about this? Because in her mind, it's like, no, you chose me. Like, we're together forever. But it's like, it leads to some interesting things. Well, for one, Doc spends the entire day with Michelle about the whole, well, for one, it's like they visit Willa's grave, and it's, well, Willa and Ward's. And it's interesting because she talks about the fact is, Willa was always Ward's, because it's like she was very selfish. The fact that she only cared about herself. The only one Willa would be very sad about Willa The fact of the matter is she was his pet and stuff like that. Kind of just saying like she didn't really care about anyone but herself, which I guess to a certain extent you can kind of see that. But at the same time, she realizes no matter what, that was one of her baby girls and she wasn't around to protect her. Like maybe if she had been around, she could have prevented Willa kind of going dark side like she did, things playing out the way they did, you know? Because I'm sure also in her mind, it's like she also blames Ward because she never really loved Ward. It was probably more of a situation. Literally came back to town, got drunk, and got pregnant, ended up marrying Ward. It was probably just kind of like a I have to situation. This is just how these type of things are handled. That's what I'm talking about. Especially the way Ward is kind of an asshole. But to be fair, maybe back then he wasn't as much of an asshole. Well, we end up finding out it goes to even further extent because after Waverly was born, he pushed Julian out of the Ghost River Triangle. Is it just because did he have a problem with all supernaturals? Even if Julian was an angel, it's kind of like you're not human, so humans versus the supernatural no matter what you are. Makes you wonder, is that kind of like history kind of repeating a little bit with the whole Doc and Winona thing, which I'll kind of get to in a second. But it is interesting because Michelle, like, basically she said all the things she knew she needed to say to make Doc kind of snap, because she was talking about the whole Bobo thing is like, oh, you need a monster to face a monster. And it's like, but Bobo's tried to kill your daughters on many different occasions. It's like, but it's wartime and stuff like that. And he's like, you don't get to make a choice like that that would affect them, which is, I guess, is almost hypocritical in Doc's case. But it's just kind of like something that affects their fate and their destiny like that. You don't get to make that choice for them, because he's very protective when it comes to Winona and Waverly. And I think, Michelle kind of sees that and she's kind of okay with that. But at the same time, she also talks about the fact is that Doc has no right to talk about, love, being a vampire and everything, because I guess it's that whole aspect of because you're immortal and everything, because of what's going on between you and my daughter, you have the audacity to talk about love. With you doing what you're doing is just kind of, in a sense, casting her and everyone else that's a part of this family aside, is essentially what she's saying, because she's kind of doing the same thing. She's like, I have to go find Julian. He's outside the Ghost River Triangle. He's alone. And it's like, but you're abandoning your daughters. It's like they won't forgive you as much because you're choosing your love over them. What about them? They literally just got you back after all this time and you're just leaving them. But it's like, maybe there's more to it, because Michelle almost makes it seem like she's doing this for a reason. Maybe it's like, if I get Julian, maybe he can help with this whole situation. He's a key to this whole Bullshar thing. Or simply it's just the fact is of like, hey, I want love. After everything that's happened, having been trapped with a demon for years, having been married to Ward, I found the man that I love. It's the whole thing of like, I didn't have to break my spirit to be happy, essentially, is the point she made about being with him. So she's going out searching for love, which once again, super selfish. Which each of the ERPs have kind of had their problems with the whole like aspect of being selfish, but their mom is really kicking it up. You literally just came back into their lives and you're already going, especially with everything that's going on, this war against Bullshar, you pick like literally the worst time. And then finally there's a thing at the end, the huge fallout between Winona and Doc, because she's pissed because it's like, once again, it's kind of what I was talking about earlier. It's like, you chose immortality over like what could happen to us. Like, we'll all die and wither away, but you'll keep going. But what about our daughter? It shows that you care more about that, because before that's all he cared about was the immortality. And it's like, oh, now you got what you wanted back again. But in my mind, the way he's talking about, kind of, he's treating it almost like I did it for you. Because it's almost like, don't question me to think like you know why I did this. Because I'm chalking it up that he became this way, well, for multiple reasons. One, Winona pushed him away. Because we do see her and Charlie kind of shacking up more and more. But it's like, you pushed me away. Almost like I had no choice but to turn to Kate in this situation. And Winona's pushing him away, talking about the fact is that, him being selfish. And the fact is that she uninvites him to their home. And it's just like, part of me was wondering if he became immortal, because he was like, I need to be immortal for this fight. He brings Bullshar's ring and gives it to Winona, saying like, hey, you could use it in a fight. Michelle's leaving the message being like, oh, don't trust him. He's not what he seems. Maybe, I feel like on some level, maybe it's because Michelle sees a little too much of herself in Doc and doesn't want him to hurt her daughters. I don't know, because it's like, oh, you sold your soul to a demon. Once again, kind of making that interesting comparison, because it's literally the same thing. I think I might have brought that up last episode too. Like, it is literally the exact same thing as Wyatt. It's like him gaining immortality. It caused him and Wyatt to stop being best friends. Didn't stop the fact that Wyatt still loved him no matter what. It was still looking for him when it was all said and done. And no matter what, Winona still loves him too. It's just the fact of the matter is I don't know. It seems like they love each other, but they have such a hard time admitting it or saying it or acting upon it. It's just, I think it's just because they're naturally both just scared. Like, because Doc is afraid of who he really is, you know, that maybe there isn't a good side to him. Because it's like, because even Kate saying, like, she breaks your spirit just to be with her. Like me, I accept you at your worst, even more so, you know? So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where everything goes from here. I mean, Winona's turned her back on Doc. How does the rest of the team feel about him making his choice to be something supernatural? I mean, it's not more so the supernatural thing. It's more so what type of supernatural he chose to be. I mean, also the fact is, Dolls didn't choose to be what he was. So, I mean, it's like, is it just kind of like, oh, because he's a supernatural thing that they have a problem? I doubt it. I think it is just more so the selfishness thing, but still, it's just kind of sad when this is all said and done. It's just, part of me, you know, it was just, the fact is that Doc was at an extreme low and Kate was there. It's just kind of, he was trying to fill that hole in his heart, essentially. It doesn't make it any better, but it's just kind of a sad situation to see them where they are. Like I said, it's just kind of hypocritical, her mom calling him out for his stuff, and you've got your own situation going on like that. Once again, maybe there's more to it than that. And then there is that big thing of like, yeah, we do have Bobo running around, so what's that going to turn into as well? So we'll kind of have to wait and see in the long run. I'm very interested to see what goes down in the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.